Alright, welcome back to Intentionally Unintelligent. We got my co-host Angelo Pistone here, and we got the producers of our podcast. We got Danielle and Amanda. I'm excited to have you guys on here. I've been speaking to a lot of people, you know, that have been around me at work and my personal life and stuff, and they're like dumbfounded by the job that you both are doing for this podcast. It's like, how did you learn to do all this production stuff?
How did we get started? We just got started because it's something that we both like doing, and we wanted to offer it here because...
Well, you started longer than I have. So I actually have been in the fitness industry my entire life. I owned a gym at 24, ran it. COVID, unfortunately, took it down. But had to like reroute my life because all I've ever known for in my life was fitness. Everyone who knew me, Danielle's the girl. My nickname was the Hulk in high school because of said reasons. And
mine's Brolic SpongeBob.
Is Brolic SpongeBob?
You have to
Yeah,
stop.
like, you know the picture where he has like the big arms and like no legs and no shit?
Why don't you start training legs then?
Because I don't want to.
If I put you through a leg workout, you probably wouldn't be able to walk.
Because legs suck too. That's
They do,
It's a horrible
but
thing.
it makes a man, you know what I mean?
It does.
We could probably leg press more than Chris.
Honestly, no offense.
But this is all like relatively new. You guys do backdrops of photography and videography, but like the podcast thing is new, and I really genuinely don't understand like how the production is made. It's insane. Like from the editing, like let's just say we have to cut something to when you guys blend it back into like the sentences. It's like this is right.
Yeah, it's definitely a creative vision that it doesn't come from a lot of people. You have to kind of have that talent, you know. You gotta kind of have that vision, and most people don't. I'm definitely gonna say that most people don't. So kudos to you, seriously, because you guys are. I'm used to seeing you guys behind the camera, so seeing you sitting on the table is kind of
a little nerve-wracking back here.
It's also like the communication. Like if I tell you guys exactly what I want, some people like in the industry will fuck that up. And then I tell you guys like pinpoint exactly what I know. I'm a little descriptive, like over text and probably a little something.
That's what you need, but you need.
No, I mean, honestly, I appreciate when people are so like they just tell me what they want and they're like you send me the time exactly. Like I love that.
Yeah, you know what you want, and that makes our job easier because then we're left to do what we think should be best.
Because our vision might be different than yours.
Yes.
And then we could spend all this time, because it's a lot of time and effort, and we put into it. And then we send it to you, and you're like, yeah, no, that's not what I wanted.
So
you waste our time, you know?
Yeah, no, but that hasn't happened.
And then it's like, no, it hasn't, because
you're descriptive.
Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't happened.
The ideal client right here.
He's definitely very black and white with what he wants.
Yeah.
He sees a vision and he likes it a specific way. And honestly, sometimes that's the best way to be.
It is.
I'm going to be honest with you.
The way that this is like snowballed, and it's been such a short time, is that like everything has been coming together just perfectly. It's like we fell on our face earlier, and that's when Ange wasn't even, you know, on the show yet. And like, you know, now that I have him here,
And now we have a co-host.
Yeah.
just the comfortability thing.
Wow.
Yeah, just the comfortability aspect of like having him here. And I feel like if he was here earlier on, that shit wouldn't have happened. It's just two of the same kind of presence in a room.
Yeah.
You know, and like now that he's here doing all these episodes, I feel like the future is extremely bright. Things are just kind of lining up the way that they're supposed to, from the vision to the logo to the production to getting the episodes out there. And like even on social media, people are heavily viewing these videos.
Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
It was meant to happen that way.
Yeah. When you just kind of like let go of like controlling everything and you just
let it be.
Yeah, everything falls into place.
It's more like also to a support system, you know. He's got a very big support system behind him, you know. It's not just one person in this room that, you know, makes these dreams come to life or make these creative ideas come to play, you know. Everybody's got their thoughts into it, and that's exactly what makes this show so special, I feel like, you know.
And it's fun.
It's so much fun.
Like that, what I was telling you about before. My dad used to always say, and this is regarding kids, but it can go to any walks of life. It takes a village. No matter what you do, it takes a village. So whether it's a kid and it's family, friends, whoever you surround yourself to raise that kid to be the best part of society possible, or you have a vision of a podcast and you want to make it happen and you're using the resources you have, it takes a village. So when people are like, oh, I want to do it all myself, I could do it all myself. I've told Amanda 100 times that was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made owning that gym, was I thought I could do it myself. I could do the accounting, I could do the managing, I could do the invoices, I could do the janitor, I could do this. It's not possible. But
And-
you called upon your resources.
Yeah, and she's encouraged me too. Like when I first started, you were like besides being friends, she came as a client too. And she was renting out the studio space and she was doing podcasting and she hired me to do her photos. And like, then when she decided to do something else with her life, she's like, hey, can you mentor me a little bit? And then I literally don't know what I would do without Danielle. She is my right hand. Like I literally would not be here.
That's how I feel how that when this started is that you need people that like you genuinely trust around you. Is that, you know, and I've known you guys, I mean, I would say for a year, but like really start to get to know you guys over the past few months.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's a big trust factor. It's because we both know like exactly what this is going to take. Is that you guys need to be happy. It needs to be lucrative for both ends. And like from our end, it's a vision. For our end, it's that in a year from now, we want to be an established podcast. It's your end. It's like business is going around. But like when this shit pops off, it's like we're all gonna be in it together. And I feel like that's a big message that I try to send out to you very often. It's like if we keep pushing this shit, the content, the realness, the authenticness, it's going to take off, and then all our lives are gonna change. You know, I just like the vibes are genuinely like immaculate in this setting.
People love real. People love authentic. People are, like you said in the first episode, and you say till you're blue in the face, people are scared to be authentic and to be themselves, especially nowadays. So hearing people actually come together and be themselves and be real, people eat that up.
It's
People
so
love
true
it.
though, and I feel like people are afraid to be themselves because everybody does judge them, and like you have people who are in the industry who make you feel like smaller, and like that's why a lot of people don't show up all the time. So that's why, right? Like I feel like that's why it took us even like longer to get things up and going here, because
It's easy.
we don't have this equipment, we don't have that. Like why would anybody want to come? You know what I mean? But
like I said, this
when
podcast
you're
is the
starting
same
from
thing, you know? It's the
when
same
you start
Yeah. But in reality, you don't need XYZ to start. You just need to start. Because there's Joe Schmo down the street who's starting it with half the amount of, you know, credibility, equipment, knowledge that you do, and he's taking off.
Yeah.
So who's to say that you just can't do it?
It's the fear of failure, right? People are scared to try because they're scared of failing.
And they don't understand that you're supposed to fail. You know, encourage failure because that teaches you growth.
How many successful people in this world all say the same things, that they have fallen down 10 times and only won once, and those are the most successful people. I don't know anybody in this world who has just jumped on here or jumped on any platform and said, oh, I've been winning from the beginning and I did about... You need to fail. The only way, it's brick by brick. That's the only way, and you're gonna fail, and that's just.
You know what's good about the beginning process of this? We did. It's like
we definitely did. We went through some shit. We did.
We did, and it's like, you know, but that taught me exactly who we want on this, and it's like, you know, we come from the same place, and I had a lot of people from where we came from, and everybody's reaching out, and like the following is still in that weird period where we're just getting started, but the views are high, and so many people from the neighborhood are reaching out because they just see, it's like, wow, I got a DM from Adam. He was our football coach in high school, Big Adam. And he said like, wow, like nobody's ever spoke up for Bensonhurst like you guys are doing, and like that's
amazing.
If that could just be our thing, that's fine. But like, you know, it's also going into so many different directions. Is that every week it's somebody like the polar opposite of the week before.
Literally.
You know, it's like we have Luke coming on Thursday, men's mental health advocate. It's like we have Lauren Delinko. She's a TikTok star. We have. You know, my buddy of mine used to be a boxer. You know, he's a boxer. He's a WBF bantamweight champion. We have and Jamie from Eat Clean, if he ends up coming on. There's so many different types of guests from like every like side of the equation, and I feel like keeping it diverse, but like also we're getting a ton of people from our old neighborhood that want to come on too. Crazy Vinny from Brooklyn, I would love to have on. You know,
it's the beauty of it. You know, it's not a show that is going to go in one specific direction. We are not going to talk about one topic. We could talk about men's mental health one week, and then next week we could talk about tattoos and weightlifting. That is what we're going for here. We want to get all people on all walks of life, every demographic. We don't just want young and old, we want everybody.
Interesting people.
Real and
interesting.
And to be fair, that's what people need. They need versatility because no one person is stuck in one way.
No.
Life is going to throw you adversities, life's going to throw you hardships, it's going to throw you a whirlwind of things, and it's your job to, in a sense, deal with it in the best way possible. But people like to know because Like if you're talking about mental health, and then you're talking about this, and you're talking about this, it's like, oh yes, I get that, I get that, I get that. You're not just one lane.
Yeah, and I was speaking on Amanda, the My Room Studios podcast about. I'm so happy about the way that first episode went, because it's like that's how me and him speak off camera. Fucking raunchy. We bring up whatever we want. We talk about whatever we want. There's absolutely no secrets. There's like, you know.
That was authentic as you're gonna get. That's a conversation me and him would have in a car or in somebody's basement or in his house or in my house. There was absolutely no holding back on that, and trust me, it showed on camera, because like I said, the feedback that I've gotten, the feedback that you've gotten, people see it's as real of the conversation that anybody's.
We forget that it's there. It's that, you know, like this is like a dynamic duo, because we've always been like that. We were always able to relate to people and talk to people, make people feel comfortable, and like, you know, it's a blessing that like we actually get to do this. And who the hell would have thought we could have started a platform of just talking to people? And like I love hearing people from all walks of life, you know, and I'm just excited for what the future holds, man. Like I really am. You know, this has been like way too positive. It's been just a straight snowball effect. The beginning has been so exciting. After, you know, we filmed that episode together, I walked up to Angie. I said, Angie, I was like, you got to co-host this. I don't even think I gave you the option. I was like, you got to co-host this podcast. I'm like,
sorry, you have no choice, but you're part of the team.
He's very similar. He's very similar to me, and it's like, you know, honestly, now I feel like I can't do it alone. I feel like he's like so wrapped up into it.
You need him here.
You know, like that episode that we had with Johnny, me and him. It's like that was. And I'm so excited for that to pop off. Like
that was a really good episode, man. I'm excited for the viewers there to listen to that. Johnny is definitely a character, and I'm happy that we had him on here, and you know, got to pick his brain a little bit and show you guys exactly what he thinks on a day-to-day basis, and how, you know, he came from nothing too and made himself a little something.
Most beautiful thing in the world, and it's like, you know, we didn't have a voice growing up. We grew up in a very small part. I brought this up on your thing too. We grew up in a very small part of the world. We grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Yeah. Nobody really knows what that is except for the people that are from there that have the pride. And it's like we did not have a voice growing up. And it's like if I could give those people a platform and a voice to either promote their brand, promote who they are, anything along those lines, it's like that is truly special to me. And it's like I said, if this thing doesn't pop off to worldwide or whatever, it's like that'll go down as a staple from where we came from.
You're still gonna be helping people though.
Yeah,
no matter who you like hit.
So I think of growing up, right? So similar. I didn't grow up in Brooklyn. Grew up in an inner city. Moved to Manalapan. Culture shock, to say the least. Then currently live in Freehold. But growing up, I didn't see representation of myself, right? And same for you guys, I'm sure. You didn't look at TV or music or whatever and saw someone from where you came from, right? So you don't really have the sense of looking at someone and being like, oh, they did this and they did this, I could do that too. I didn't see that either. Yeah. And I would get frustrated and be like, what the hell? Like, why can't I see me on the screen or doing a podcast or whatever? You be that person.
You be the main character in your
person,
story. Yeah,
and you are that people. So you got Joe Schmo, who still lives in Bensonhurst, you know what I mean, who sees the podcast, and you have no idea who you could be affecting. I have kids that I used to train when they were like 7 to now they're in college, graduated, and I would see them on, you know, randomly, and they're like, you were the one that changed my perspective on things because I saw relativity in you. Right. And you guys have that platform for the people from where you came from.
It makes me excited because we first started too, but there's so much to dive in about like who me and him are. And I feel like I know you like a book. I feel like you know me like a book, you know, even though like, you know, over the past year, like we haven't seen each other as much, but like we're one of those types of people that we pop up and it's like no time has passed and I know.
Guess what? Now you're stuck together.
Yeah.
I'm excited for like the audience to really like unravel who we are as people because it's like, you know, like I said, two strong guys. Like you look at us like two strong personas and this and that, but there's a lot that goes into like us as people, man. Like a lot.
We've only yet scratched the surface, my people.
There's layers.
Stay tuned. There's a lot to come.
There's a lot to come. You know, and that's why Luke, you know, for the audience, like Luke is a mental health advocate. He Red Bull representative. He has the happiness. What's the happiness
review?
The happiness review. It's like where he just goes into places and makes people happy, and he just speaks on such an uncomfortable topic of men's mental health. And like we're really gonna dive into it on Thursday. We're like, we're gonna really open the fuck up about like what we went through mentally and like where we were, and it's an uncomfortable topic because men want to be strong. It's like the stigma in society with men's mental health is shut the fuck up and bear down.
Yeah.
But I'll show you guys statistics, which I'm not going to bring up until Thursday. But half of those men are not here no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I can't even like imagine how hard it is for I feel like men to say stuff because you guys are always like you're meant to be like these strong, tough, like whatever. I feel like even for women, it's hard too to say like. I wanted to kill myself at one point in my life. It's not an easy thing.
No,
so for men,
especially
I feel
on a
like
platform in front of a camera,
it's even harder.
Yes.
Forget it.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'll air my dad out right now. Wonderful man. Love this man.
We love you.
Yeah, retired deputy chief of the fire department for New Brunswick.
Nice.
First Latino fire department for captain, lieutenant, deputy chief. Like this man accomplished so much in his life, right? So he's held at a high standard. Not to go into too much mental health because you'll go into that on Thursday. But so he's retired, right? Now his career, I know he's seen a lot. It's an inner city.
Yeah,
it's not, no offense to a small town where it's volunteer, but you don't see the same shit that you see in an inner city.
Yeah.
So from domestic violence to car accidents to people DOAs, all these types of things, firemen are the first to respond. Yeah. So my dad has to see that, right? So growing up, obviously he wouldn't, tell me the gruesome details because I'm such a young kid.
Yeah.
As an adult, we're able to have that conversation. And he was a Marine.
Oh yeah.
It was a very structured. You don't talk about your feelings.
Now you get it. Like the older you get, you start to see like when you're an adult and you're going through the things that adults go through, and like you're seeing some crazy shit. Because like the older I get, the more crazy shit that I see. You start to understand. When you're a kid, it's like, oh, this fucking guy is all stressed out all the time and this and that. But when you get older, it's like that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And it does. I remember I was getting my license, and my dad was. Whether you call this good parenting or not, he definitely taught me a lesson about speeding, right? He sent me a picture of a sedan car, like an accordion.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just watched the 17-year-old boy take his last breath.
Oh, God.
Now, a couple months ago, he, felt vulnerable enough, and I'm so happy that he felt comfortable enough to express this to me, my brother, my fiance, and, our family like that, where he was having really bad PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
And he would wake up in the middle of the night. Of course, he's lost people. Of course, he's had to, unfortunately, leave people in a building if Mayday was called, because you have to get your men out first. And things like that. Like, he's seen people die in his hands. And he, divulged that to me. And he was like, listen, I haven't been sleeping for weeks. And I would wake up with nightmares. I would see this face of the person that I had to leave or the person that had passed.
It's really brave of him.
And and he was like, I have to get help.
Yeah.
And he's seeing a therapist and he's doing great. Like,
that is the most masculine thing a man can do.
It's an amazing. I was like, so I was proud that he even just told me.
Yeah.
Because with men mental health awareness, it's not talked about.
It's not.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times have you had that moment? It's like, fuck, like the impulsivity hits your brain, and like like the days are just gloom, and like the sun isn't shining, and like you just like, what
You're
the
like,
fuck
how am I getting out of this?
is going on with me, and why is this happening? And you just can't. You can't get over it, and you can't say anything. You're in a relationship, or you have like important people around you, and it's like you feel like you're burdening somebody by right? Mm-hmm. You feel like you're burdening.
But it's not burdening. I feel like we're all here to like help each other.
Also, I feel like men don't want to say it. If you have a significant other, a wife, a girlfriend, to most men, they're gonna feel less of a man and weak. A lot of women also want a man that's, more masculine.
I just want to interrupt you because I feel like I don't think that's true. I feel like when you open up, I think that's more.
Well, Amanda, you're a different woman. And,
I think it's society too that put that pressure on a man.
If you see from the outside looking in, for most parts, it's women want a masculine man. They want a man that's going to get up and go to work and pay their bills and fix the car tire if it's flat and do that. And
it's a statistic.
I got Danielle. I don't need no man. I don't need no man. I got her. I heard her dad. I'm good.
You know, I've had women. You know, I've had women leave me like when I was going through the worst times in my life. It's because they're like, oh, this kid is supposed to be the man. He's supposed to be strong. It's like, but
yeah. That's why most men don't speak up about it. They really do. I feel like, and not even for women, for your friends. If you come from where we come from and you want to start talking about, you want to go meet up with your friends and go tell them that you're feeling depressed, and you're going to get abused for
That's
that.
one thing, though. It's like,
you're going to get abused for that.
A few selective friends that we had, we were able to kind of open up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the close
But you're lucky that you have that.
Majority, exactly.
Not every.
Not the majority of
Not
it.
Most
Can
people
you
don't.
imagine going to our high school and going downstairs when we had football practice and telling the guys of the football team you were feeling depressed that day? You would get abused.
And that's true though too, because again, even with girls too, I feel like it was hard. Middle school, high school, like girls are vicious too. So it's kind of you can't go. You know what I mean?
Girls
like
are mean.
I had my cousin to help me get out of my holes. That's who I had.
It is sad, and it's like, you know, like my prayer is that like Thursday's important, and like today we're gonna get into it. It is what it is. It's the kind of way the conversation's going. Is that like, you know, if we could just change one person's life.
I guarantee you've already changed somebody's life. You guys have. I guarantee you, every one of us in here have changed somebody's life already.
You guys, because men can't speak up, and men have no idea what to do. They go through the motions every day. They wake up. They try to be the man. They go to work, but they're fucking dying in their brain. And I could speak from this from personal experiences that if I did not make the proper adjustments, and I'll get into what the proper adjustments are, if I did not make those proper adjustments in my life, I would be part of that statistic.
We need more men mental health coaches.
Yes, I agree.
Because
that
100%
brings up, so Canelo is a boxer, right?
Yeah.
So there's a video of Canelo boxing, or no, his son boxing. And he got hit in the face, whatever, not too crazy, and he almost starts to cry. And Canelo's trainer was in Spanish was just like, you know, you don't cry. Don't cry. That's not right. Canelo stopped the entire, as he's training, his son's, you know, practicing or playing or whatever, stops his training, calls his son over, and it's the most beautiful video because he's telling his son, he was like, in life, whatever you're feeling, you express it. Don't listen. If you need to cry, you cry.
Yeah.
That is not a show. That is not a sign of weakness. That's actually a sign of strength because you have the strength to be so vulnerable in front of people that you're allowing yourself to feel, which is not what most people get. And then they suppress it, and then other emotions come out of that. But I just thought that video, he was such a young boy, and like he told his son, teaching his son that that's okay.
But that's where I wish more like. You're about to be. I was gonna say, you're about to be a dad, so like, you know what I mean, like
and that's exactly what I'm gonna teach my son.
Yeah,
that
like
it's okay for him to show emotion. The only thing that my son, I will embed in his head is that he's not allowed to give up.
Yeah.
Once you give up, that's when everything goes downhill. I don't care if you fall down 9 times, you cry, you get up. And you try again. You'll be fine.
Resilience.
And you know what? You're speaking from experience. Like me knowing you, like you. 20s were fucking rough, like, you know, and you didn't fold, and like it's now you're at a point where it's
so in August of 2020, I actually suffered a stroke, a pretty severe stroke actually, and the whole right side of my body was like paralyzed, and I wanted to give up, and I was. Just like he said in that statistic, there was nothing keeping me going. I just wanted to just give up, and I just wanted to block out the world and do whatever I could do just to get the hell out of here. And thank God that I do have an amazing support system, a great wife who every single day, I mean, days I woke up and they were the worst days in the world. Days I woke up, they were a little bit better. I cried every day and prayed every day until one day it got a little better. And then at the end of the day, I would say, I want to give up. And I said, all right, just give yourself one more day. Just wake up one more day and try again. And I did that every single day till I got back on my feet and like moving around and fully functionable. But it really is a testament to who you are as a person. You have to have a support system. You have to understand that bad things in life are gonna happen. Life sucks. Life is cold and it's hard, and it's about what we make of it, and it's about getting up every day and trying. You just gotta keep trying, because, I mean, I don't want to get...
He was fully fucking paralyzed, this kid.
Proud of you.
Seriously.
I was in a walker, yeah. I was, and even the doctors told me, they said, listen, she's like, if I was you, I would really start finding, because I did construction my whole life. This doctor, I'm telling you, came into my room and said, if I was you, I would start figuring out other ways to make a living. She said, because I don't see you ever walking again.
I would look at her and be like, watch me, bitch.
Yo,
I remember that day.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
We were working, me and him, for a structural steel fabricating company.
Worked at FJM.
Me and him worked at a ton of companies together. And he came in, he's like, and I think you just got off a flight, right? You went on vacation.
I went to South Carolina. I got back home and fucking, I don't know what the hell happened to me. But
he said, like, I think I'm having vertigo. And I said, I don't think it's anything, like, none. And then I got like a cold like a day later.
Right. We were at work together.
We were at work. He felt it. He was stroking at work.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then he called me like a day later. No, your sister called me or something, and it's like,
because everybody thought I was taking drugs. Everybody was like, even the doctors were like, you know, you need to tell us if you did anything, because we can't figure out why this happened to you. I said, take my blood, take my urine. I'm like, if I wish I could tell you I went on a 48-hour coke bender and this is what happened to me. But I cannot tell you why this happened to me, you know? Like, literally.
But also, you're the doctor.
You got to be your own doctor.
Yeah.
You know, me and him always kind of like, you know, stuck by each other, because it's like we had these crazy struggles, and it seemed like it never ended. And like, you know, like I said, the depression things, that shit is fucked up.
It's very real.
Yeah.
There's so many things though that, like, thank God you guys are talking about it though, because there are so many ways that, like, by you guys voicing it, I'm telling you, you're gonna help out so many people. And then there's different techniques and things that you guys can do to help yourselves. Like,
sometimes people have nobody to talk to, and you know, like I said,
then reach out to us.
If I can form this platform and ends up taking off, is that, like, you know, if anybody hears this out there that's going through it, man, like, feel free to DM the page or DM, you know, whatever, on all the platforms, and we will get back to you. And it's like, if you're going through it, you're not alone. You know, if you want to even come on here and you want to talk about it and voice your opinion, you know, and voice what you're going through, it's because, like, we could speak from firsthand experiences that you would see us, you know, tattooed up and, like, you know, like the type of guys that we look like and appear to be. But, like, I'm telling you, right,
completely different.
Completely different. Completely different. You know, like, real, we came from a certain part, we grew up a certain way, but believe me, there's been some fucking mental struggles that me and this kid have been through. Big time. And like I said, Thursday is going to be like another thing where I have a lot more statistics about, like, the ugly shit that goes on in this country. My advice to men out there that are going through shit, and it's like, that's an extreme fucking circumstance. You had a stroke and you got over it, and it's like, now you're like jacked up. I mean, you should really be proud of yourself. But
really.
Some men who are out there that are going through things, there are certain ways holistically, without antidepressants and without, you know, modern day medicine, where you could get better. It's that you go to the gym, your appearance gets better, which inevitably makes your mental health get better because you look better. There is, you know, taking the right supplements every morning. You wake up, and like Mila, you know, on the second episode told me, is like, wake up and say what you're blessed for. And I do that every day now. And I go through periods in my life where I don't have it all year round, but I go through ruts. And, you know,
you're human.
Exactly. You have
That's normal.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Ladies, can we stop making men feel bad? Like, I don't understand.
For some reason, which is like an oxymoron, right? So they want a man who's manly.
You want someone you feel safe with, but, like, that doesn't mean that they can't fucking cry in front of you.
But then at the same time, you want to cry in front of them.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
Yeah.
It's a double standard.
So, and I can guarantee you, and I can only speak from my experience, I've been with my fiance for 10 years, and the more he's vulnerable with me and me with him, the stronger that shit gets.
Well, you guys are different types of women. It's that there's some women out there that are very, I'm not trying to, like, demonize certain types of women, but there are women out there that are very materialistic, that want a certain things, certain ways, and it's like, you know, very few women are like Sabrina.
Get off social media, because it's not real.
It's literally not real to the point where I found out recently that people like they'll go in and edit their faces, like their lips and everything. Like when people come here and they tell me like, "Can you make me skinnier?" I'm like, "No, I am not the photographer for you. If you want me to change how you look, like I'm taking you." People change how they look, so it's not real.
No, it's not. Even like look at people how they post their stories. Like they'll post like these little clips of their day that make it look like it was like this
amazing day,
extravagant day, and it's
you're
like,
sitting there like,
"What'd you do today?" It's like nothing. I didn't do anything. You know.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
It's you want, again, going back to it's the judgment. You want people to look at the things that you're doing and have a good judgment of you. People are terrified of being themselves and being judged as, because you might not like your presentation, you might not like the way you talk, you might not like how you look, but you gotta just learn that this is you, like this is who you are, be you, and the right people will love you for it.
Isn't it sad when people go through their entire lives and then they like wake up at 80 and they're like, fuck, I didn't say what I wanted to say, I didn't do what I want to do. Like that's the one thing I will never do. Like this year I'm saying how I like feel, doing what I want to do, because you don't want to wake up one day and be like, fuck, I wish I told that person this or that, and then God forbid, like we're not, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow.
Look how fast life is going.
Right, you blink your eyes. You were just in,
You're gonna be like, God damn, I wish I did this. Why would you want to live?
You guys want to hear a crazy thing? Is that we're both almost 30. You know, and
I'm gonna get out of here for this conversation. Stop. I'm almost 34. He's like, we're both almost 30. She's 20. Fucking.
You still fit into this. You still fit into this. We have.
Actually, technically, I do. I'm still in that bracket of 25 to 34.
How fast did that 30-year stretch go?
How fast did the 30-year? I turned 30 during COVID. I don't know where the past 4 years went. I feel like I every time someone says 10 years ago, I'm like, yeah.
You have 2 more of those left.
What?
Before you're off this planet. Think about that.
Oh my God, why would you say that? No, I have about like a lot.
We're going to live to 150.
Oh, like you're
The point is that that's how
the stretch of 30 years you have.
If we're lucky though. If we're lucky.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. No, that would mean we're 90 years old. And honestly, I don't even know if we're living till 90.
Yeah. You never know. They never know what the shit that they're coming out with nowadays.
I'm cool. 70. I'm out of here.
I feel like as long as you again, I'll talk about my parents all day. I've been blessed with the most amazing people.
They're the best.
And for me, that is what I was taught from the jump. You be yourself. People don't like it.
Danielle is far beyond her years. I'll say this for the 3rd time this week.
Yes. But it just, like, I could die tomorrow and be like,
I'm good.
I was myself. I was always authentic. I was good to people. I never, did people wrong. And when in high school, when I moved here not here, when I moved to Manalapan, I saw the world in a different light, right? Yeah. So you grow up in an inner city. We all know what inner cities bring. Then I moved here where it's like, I was like, wait, we get our own lockers? I was like, you mean I don't have to like carry my book? And then what do you mean? No one's on welfare? like yeah.
Our high school looked like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. What lockers?
It's great. Like in New Brunswick High School, every door, and I only know this because of my dad, but the new high school, every single door frame in that school has a metal detector in it. They have childcare.
Wow. Wow.
So I moved to here, Manalapan High School, and I would see so many people trying to, what's the quote, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Yeah. And I never understood it. Yeah. When I moved here, I didn't know what Abercrombie was. I didn't know what Hollister was, or whatever the other store was. And I moved, or Uggs, that was the...
American Eagle.
I moved here, everyone looked the same.
Yeah.
They had the same outfits on, everything. And I remember this one girl, and I'm not going to name her name, but I will never forget her.
I lived there for 2 years, I probably know what she is.
And she comes up to me, and she was like, "Are you wearing Abercrombie?" And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Are you wearing Abercrombie?" And I was like, "No." Like, I didn't know what the fuck that was. I wasn't going to tell her I didn't know. And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh."
I'm wearing Old Navy.
Yeah. And she walked Shoppers World, fucking Kmart.
I'm wearing Mandy's.
And all the, not even. And I remember being like, what? And for one moment, I remember, there was the only time where I was like,
Yeah, you
like,
feel,
do I not, like, I'm not as good as they are.
They are
because
cliquey
I have
as
less.
fuck out there. That's one thing about us is that the avenues and the neighborhoods were cliquey. However, the people that were within our neighborhood in Bensonhurst, we all treated them like family. We used to have these parties in Bay Ridge, and like everybody was welcome. It's like it didn't matter who you were, the geeky kid, the jockey kid. You know, like I feel like we did pride ourselves in making everybody feel pretty fucking included.
Yeah.
That's why we were never bullies, we were never assholes, we were never like, you can't come hang out.
And I don't know if you experienced this because you moved, right? At a certain point?
I lived in Manalapan for 2 years and I did not fucking fit in there whatsoever. I moved right
neither
back
did
to
I.
Brooklyn, yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I was with my family and I would never say I fit in because it's a 180 from what you grew up in, right? Yeah. So I found that in an inner city or, you know, less fortunate, if you want to put it, way more inclusive. And then you get to the ritzy ditzy towns of suburbia, and it's like, oh, you don't have this, you don't have this, and da-da-da. And then one day I realized, we did this in history class or something. They had a map of the world, right? It was, you had to color it in a sense. And you would color in where you've been, where you visited, vacation, whatever. And I realized that day, because growing up, my family, it wasn't materialistic things. Never. If I wanted a whatever it was designer, and I was like, no, again, that for you doesn't fucking mean anything. Mm-hmm. But we will go on a little road trip if you want.
And that's so much
my
better.
Parents were experienced people. So at a young age, I was very blessed to say that I went everywhere.
Danielle's map was all colored in.
So when I was coloring in my map, I wasn't paying attention to everyone else's, but I'm like coloring it in. I did most of America, I did the Caribbean, I did Mexico, all these places, right? And then you had to post it up in the back of the classroom. And I posted it up, and I looked at everyone's map. New York, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
Because they have no fucking vision.
That was it. But what it was...
But they had Hollister and Uggs.
Yeah. They had that demographic. They spent it on the expensive clothes, the expensive
Danielle, how about you
cars.
look those people up about what they're doing right now and see them miserable lives?
Very miserable. And it's funny because growing up, they would look at... Not that they would look at me this way, but like... I felt like it was always different, right? You always felt like you were different in that town. I could get along with the fucking hole in the wall. Like, I'm a very personable person, but that does not mean that we are friends in a sense.
I don't like that ritzy, judgmental, fucking narcissistic, like nose up type of energy. It's like, if you do that to me, I will fucking herb you up any day of the week. It's like, do not under any circumstances treat me like I'm less than.
Yeah,
because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have no guidance in life. It's like, yes, you have money because your mom and dad left you money. You are a fucking trust fund baby. Is that you inherited a house, you inherited real estate, or you inherited your dad's business or your mom's business, and now you want to look at people like us and say, people that started from the ground up, that created a life for ourselves, which is 10 times more impressive, and you want to nose up because you have a fucking Porsche and Hollister, whatever the fuck you wear.
And it's funny because they don't last long, because when they're faced with adversity, they don't know what to do.
No,
they have no clue what to do.
They cry and they fold.
And then they're done. They're like, this wasn't for me, I couldn't do this, and instead
do you feel this way, that absolutely nothing in your life could beat you right now? There's things that'll make you upset, but take you down.
No. The only thing, and I say it all the time, I will rise and I will fall, and that's just by my family. That's the only thing that, like, I will say will probably break me down.
Roman will break.
Or if I lose my dogs, Mello and Charlie, because I still think about the day that they're gonna go.
I know, me too. It's horrible.
And I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
I'm not gonna make it.
What about a testicle?
But Brie and I just talked about this.
I'll lose my left nut before I lose my dogs, because I literally cannot even fathom the thought of these dogs not being around me, and it gives me anxiety, and it kills me because I know they're not going to be here obviously forever. Nobody's here forever.
That's not true. Maybe they're going to figure out a way to keep them around forever, right?
Hopefully, if somebody's hearing this, try to find a way to get our dogs to live forever. But that's the only thing that I could, like, seriously look at and be like, after all the situations that happened and all the circumstances I've been through, that's the only thing that I could look at and be like, man, how do I come out of this one? Like, there's people that, like, you know, I hate to say it, but like people that lose their children, like that's That's a tough one, man. That's like, I don't know. That's one that, like, I get it. Like that, I don't know
That's a heartbreak that isn't fixed.
No. You could move on if you have obviously other children, but you're never fully healed from that. You'll always be missing a part of you. You know, that stuff. So that's the only thing that I could, like, genuinely look at and be like, that would completely break me.
Let's not put that in the universe.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
makes sense. You know?
Yeah. And now we go to a positive note.
You know, and you know, like reversing back to like the mental health stuff, like we were talking about on our first episode about like the way my grandmother raised me and stuff, and you know, my father had reached out and said, like, you know, I was offended by that you didn't mention me, and it's like now I kind of want to mend that. Is that, you know, we talk about men's mental health.
Yeah.
He's another one, and I have the same brain as him. That kind of, and you know, you got close to my dad for a while, and you can probably see a lot of similarities between me and him. Is that, you know, my father grew up had a very tough life. You know, he went through a lot of shit, and you know, just like how you brought up your dad, my dad is the same thing, and he always struggled with mental health. And I'm not shouting him out in a negative way. But however, even though he was doing that, he was always very present. Coached me in basketball. He was always trying to be around, but like I knew he was struggling for so long, and you know, and like now he's actually starting to get better. And I remember one story, you know, because I was thinking about that after he texted me, because I got pretty upset because like he was right. And I remember I had got arrested when I was younger. I mean, when I lived in Manalapan, like I threatened a kid in school, and then they arrested me for it.
You sneeze and they're like, stop.
Yeah.
So this story like stuck with me forever for some reason. It's like that one memory I have of him when I think of my father is that like I was his first boy. Like, you know, my sister was born shortly, you know, 7 years after me. So like he was still trying to figure out how to become a parent. He lost his dad at a very young age, and you know, when he came to the precinct, I went to the cop. I was like, is there any way you could keep me in that jail cell for like another minute or so? Because he was the only man that genuinely scared me.
Hell yeah.
He was such a powerful figure.
He's like, I'd rather stay in here.
Yeah, and what'd he say? He got in the car, and I thought he was going to AJ Soprano me and like punch me in my face. So he goes, I don't like the path you're going down. He's like, you're a smarter kid than this, and I want you to do better. And he handed me a card. And I still have that card to this day. He doesn't know I have it, but it said my card on it. He was like acting like he was handing me a business card, but it said my card. And that was like a beautiful moment that stuck with me all the way till I'm almost 30. He did this when I was like 12. You know,
He's the man.
He did not know what to do in that situation. He was still figuring out. He lost his dad at such a young age. And whenever I try to talk to him about, like, you know, he's just like me. He tries to keep everything kind of internalized, which it's like, it's an unhealthy way to be, because you need to really get out there. And especially, you know, if you're an older man and you have a son, like confide in your kid, and you know, that might be able to really help you. You know, and like that was a moment that I remember to this day, and I thought about that, and I got upset when he texted me, because I was like, you know what, you're right, because like he always tried to be present. He did, and I know he struggled, and you know what I mean. And the older I get, and the more the struggles
Start to understand him more. Yeah.
You start to understand a lot, and people's feelings, and you know, be empathetic and stuff like that, which is pretty important.
I feel like people, as we're adults, you know, as you're kids, you're like, oh, my parents, I hate them, right? Yeah. The whole nine, you're adolescents. As you grow up, I saw this somewhere, I probably saw it on TikTok or something, is your parents are also living this life for the first time too.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point.
And I read that and immediately started crying. Because I was like, so holy shit. Like, my parents had, your parents too. They've never had a kid until they had you, or the son. Then they had a daughter. Then they never had a daughter until they had you. And all these adversities that come up are the first times for them.
Think how scary it is for them.
And
look at bringing this little human into the world.
And they're responsible for you.
You're about to go through it. You're about to know.
Yeah, and you're responsible for them. And even though, you know, you guys have left the house and you have your lives and you live on your own and you're self-sustainable, a parent will always feel like they're responsible for you.
Yeah.
You could be 100 years old and they still feel like they're responsible for you. So I remember one time being like, not mad at my parents, but almost like frustrated in a way. I can't remember what it was or what it was about, but yeah. And I was like, and I didn't never let that go until I heard that quote, and I was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, they're just doing this shit for the first time too, like we are.
You learn these things, unfortunately, like the older you get, and every year teaches me a new lesson.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're the same way. It's that I didn't believe it when like the older generation said you were going to be a different person by the time you're 30, 40. It's like every year it's that my mindset completely changes.
Yeah.
I make complete adjustments. I do things completely different. I think about things in a different light, and you know what? That's better for my relationships with the people around me. It's because
100%.
and I know what you're going through, and it's like, like I said, to even the general public, it's like, no matter what, like I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
And like I can relate to you, and like like I said, like on the future of this podcast is that if that goes in that direction,
Yeah.
that's fucking unbelievable. Because never would I have thought that like we could come on here and help anybody out.
But I think like helping out people also, like people need to want the help, and they need to also take the responsibility, because like our parents had their shit going on too, but like we can live our lives being like, why me, like why did they do this to me? But if you work on yourself and your parents aren't going to work on themselves, but you still want that relationship with them, you just got to set the boundaries, and you got to figure out how to navigate it.
That's a very important conversation
like, because there's some people who are like, listen, sounds great, my parents live this way, but my parents did X, Y, and Z to me, so how do I forgive you for doing that? But it's like, they obviously went through something too when they were younger, so you have to be understanding too of what, and if you want to forgive them, then you have to let it go, because holding on to anger and anything towards anybody in your life is only hurting you.
It's only going to hurt you in the long run. That's it.
So the best thing you could do for you is just focus on you and work on you, and then like just figure out how you can navigate the people in your life that you want in your life that might have hurt you, and just be like, listen, I forgive you. You did the best you did with what you had at the time.
And you have to be the change too, because like for example, my grandpa, love him to death, he's no longer with us, but he wasn't the best father, right? So for example, my dad is one of 5, 3 boys, 2 girls. My second oldest or third oldest kid, the second boy, troublemaker. My grandpa, I think he got like a C in school. So not like he beat someone up or whatever. My grandpa took those giant cans, like the just metal cans, right? And took the back end of a beer can opener that had like the triangle that you pop the things, pop them up. Made my uncle kneel on them in a corner.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He bled out. Had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Beat my dad.
Old school shit right there.
Threw a butcher's knife at my other uncle, alcoholic.
I'm complaining about the spatula and the fucking belt.
No.
Yeah, like these poor.
But
think about
how
he went through.
grew up.
Right,
So he grew up in Puerto Rico. My great grandpa was probably whipping him.
Yeah, he probably had to like walk on glass.
So I remember telling my parents, and it's a great praise for parents, for other people to tell you that you did a great job, right? That's like the piece de resistance, right?
Yeah.
So when people tell my parents that, and I asked them one time, and I was just like, how did you know what to do? You never raised a kid before. And they said, we knew, and my mom didn't grow up as bad, but she also grew up rough.
Right.
And she said, me and your dad sat down and we just knew what we didn't want to.
They truly are the best.
The opposite.
I was listening to Joe Rogan. He was talking to Tim Dillon on his podcast a couple of days ago, and he said, America's only 3 people old. Think about that. 3 people.
Wild.
And, we're still learning as a country, we're still learning as a people on, like, the perfect way to be. And, listen, we're never going to get there because everybody's different, And, you need to just figure shit out, along the way, And when it comes to... My advice to people that are going through some shit right now is, like, I had that mindset where you just want to kind of sleep all day and kind of,
It's easy to do that.
It's easy, but you know what? There was a point and a day, and I remember this day where I said, get the fuck up. Get up and start making changes, because like you don't want to live like this. I know you don't want to live like this because that's a horrible fucking brain, like it's a prison in your brain. And like there's a ways to kind of fix it and get around it. And all the shit that you went through and all the trauma that you went through and all the bullshit, it's like there's a way to get over that. Make peace within yourself, make adjustments within your life, do shit for you, and I feel like if you start making those adjustments, then you won't be part of that statistic, You won't be part of that statistic. So
you change when you get tired of your own shit.
Correct.
You have to be tired of your own shit.
And to realize that the amount of time that we have is not a lot.
No, it's not.
It goes by like this.
Oh, it's so short, and I feel like we notice it when we see people younger than us, and we're like, hold on, weren't you just born?
You're
a grown ass
Like
adult.
when you guys tell me that you're like not 30 yet, I'm like, oh my god. Because
I mean not like even 10 years.
Well, no,
like
10 years too. But even from 30, I'm telling you right now. When you guys turn 33, I want to have a conversation. All of us are gonna sit here.
I feel like we're the only civilization in humanity that when we're young, we're dying to be older, and then when we're old, we're dying to be younger.
Me and my cousin would go to Wildwood.
Never happy.
On the boardwalk, walking around with our parents. Greatest thing in the world, right? We got everything paid for. We didn't have to do anything. Got all the rides we wanted to go on. We ate all the food we wanted to eat. We went on the beach. Didn't have to worry about a fucking thing. I was looking at those kids. I was like, I can't wait till I'm that age.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait till I can get a boyfriend and go on the boardwalk. Like, what? I wish I had no bills. I don't. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Just kidding.
Youth is wasted on the young.
However, I love my life now.
Yeah.
Like I like.
Me too.
But because you're appreciative and you understand that life is not promised either tomorrow, 2 days a week, a month,
and you
a
learn
year
so
from
much.
now.
You learned a lot.
You do.
You know.
And I believe and obviously adversities as well, but I feel like grief has an odd way of being like, you don't have long. You better live this shit up, and you better live it right, and you better live it authentic. Because when it's your time to meet your maker, you don't want to have regrets. I don't want to say, oh, it should have been me. Like, no shit, you should have been you.
The problem
is
it's always till something bad happens for you to realize how good you have it. It's always. It's just it's just who we are. Yeah. It's just who we are as people.
Yeah, anything. Like, I used to hear, so there was a while ago, so my dad's oldest brother had passed away in January, cancer. Rough patch. Like, months and months and months and months of watching this man, like, die in front of my eyes. And every time, because I would make it a point, once it started getting like, oh, okay type of thing. Yeah. And I'm fortunate, though, that I had the time. If I worked a 9 to 5, couldn't visit him every week. No. Anytime my dad would visit or my grandma would visit, I'm there. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you're doing, how sad it is, or whatever. And I remember after every single time I would see him, I love you, da-da-da-da. Be good and be true and be kind to yourself. Mm-hmm. Those 3 things used to just be like, okay, I love you, Theo, bye, da-da-da-da. Yeah. Now that he's not here,
how hard those words hit now, right?
Well, it's a blessing that you're intuitive, and that you took these lessons and you're starting to learn them now. Because some people go through our life and they don't ever fucking learn anything.
Ever.
It's just sad, and I empathize with those people, and
me too.
That sucks.
But get the fuck out of your own way. Let's go.
You are in your own way, and the sooner you realize that and you fix it, gosh, all the abundance in the world is gonna come from you.
I'm so happy I don't have kids and a wife yet, and that's such a blessing, because if I got married and had kids in my early 20s, I would have fucked that up. And now that I'm older and I know so many different things to teach, if I ever have children, I ever have a wife, I just know how to operate. It's that time genuinely teaches
the lessons you learn.
Mm-hmm. So
shit, I'm gonna wing it. I'm winging it.
We're gonna do just great. You're gonna do great.
You already.
I can't wait till we much. Can we do a podcast again in like a couple months, and then you just let us know how's it going?
Yeah, you are you nervous?
Honestly, be honest.
You're bringing a human into the world. It's natural to be a little nervous.
Yeah, so
in a good way.
So I'm more nervous, not because of the fact that he's coming into this world, right? That doesn't scare me. I'm prepared. I got everything ready. Bassinets, baby chairs, diapers, he's taken care of, and there's more than enough people that are around us to help us.
Oh yeah.
I'm scared because there's times where I sometimes don't know how to take care of myself. And now to think that I'm new to this too. I don't know how to fucking fully wipe a baby's butt. I don't know if this kid is crying, whether he's hungry or whether he's thirsty or whether he's just got gas or uncomfortable. I don't know anything.
But you know what?
I'm winging this.
You're gonna learn
your parent, your intuition, like
your intuition.
Yeah, it's weird.
Kicks
I
in.
always hear that from parents that are kind of just like,
And they'll be like,
it
"Oh,
comes
that's
natural,
that's
you know?
his burp cry,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
that's his poop cry, or that's his hungry cry." Again, you're going through this for the first time as well.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like as long as you have a good head on your shoulders, which you do, and I'm sure your wife does as well, because you wouldn't have married someone if not, right?
Very true.
And the village you have,
Yeah.
you can't.
You're gonna be good.
You'll be so good.
And another thing scary that scares me is this world is crazy.
Yeah.
This world.
That's the scary.
But you're gonna
You
teach,
raise
you're gonna teach him all the right lessons.
To be the light in this world,
Yeah.
you've just added something beneficial.
Because
to
there's
society.
good and there's evil,
is
right?
true.
Like in everywhere there's good and there's evil. If we just keep letting everybody who fucking sucks just keep talking and using their voice and doing what they need to do, and we're like, well, fuck it, because what's it gonna do? Like, what does my voice have to?
if this fucking platform could turn into like I'm starting, and I brought this up too, like if America's starting to get away from this shit, that like everybody's getting silenced and canceled and they can't speak their mind. It's like America was built on not being a tribalistic society. Tribalistic society means that you believe in one thing, and it's that we're not that. That's not a thing. There's a reason that we have checks and balances and different political parties. They're all different race and ethnicities and different backgrounds. It's like if you're out there trying to silence people, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like you're a loser. And it's like I don't give a shit what your beliefs in and this. And you might think you have the right thing, but nobody believes what you believe. It's like not everybody's gonna have that same idea.
It's because we're so freaking small-minded. Everybody's so close-minded because nobody really think about how many people there are in this world. You think you're the only one that thinks this way, or something? Come on, man. There's so many walks of life out there, so many different cultures, so many
that's
different
the
things.
beauty is when people look at that and they think that that's a threat, and it's like you have so many different minds and ethnicities and cultures and religions and
wouldn't that interest you to talk to them?
That's
Exactly.
valuable.
That's why I love
But the
this.
problem-
That's why I love this. Is that we could talk to those types of people, and I want to hear exactly what you believe.
Yes.
You know, like like even if you're like a conservative, like most people are, like in our corner. It's that if you're on the other side of the equation, maturely come in here and then like talk to me about what you believe in, and I'm going to hear you out and I'm going to talk to you about it. And if I disagree, I'm going to tell you I disagree. We have gotten away from that. It's that I don't, it's ridiculous, and like the messages that are being preached in this country is fucking absurd. It's absurd if you look at like what's being taught out there right now. It's like there's a difference between like I'll bring up like a general one, like body positivity. And then like harming yourself by being like morbidly obese, and then like America's like, no, go ahead, eat what the fuck you want and be depressed, and that's
or take Ozempic and fuck up your body.
Get the fuck out of here. And we're teaching that to our younger generation, and everybody's like, oh, the younger generation is the one that's going to save the world. No, it's not. You're manipulating.
Maybe the babies will, like the babies,
but only taught by people who are sound-minded.
And my friend here is not fat shaming anybody, so I don't want anybody to hear that and think
But also, come
but
on.
he's saying
but
it
we're
in
here
the
for a
right
healthy
way. Exactly.
cardiovascular system, healthy hormone levels, healthy.
We're also
that.
not here to. I'm sorry too, but like people need to hear this shit. Like take accountability for your shit and get up and.
Get moving.
Yeah.
Get
you want to
moving.
Like take care of yourself. Stop blaming everybody else for your
I'm all for everybody who loves themselves. That's a
Listen, if
beautiful
you're
thing.
happy,
If you
then
love
yeah.
yourself, by all means, do what you
But
want.
don't complain and then make other people feel bad. Like people that come
but I brought up
well,
that point before. There's no way you feel good eating fast food every single day of your life.
So bad for
Look
you.
up the ingredients in that shit.
So
Look
bad
up the
for you.
ingredients.
I can bet you they can't even pronounce the names.
That shit
If you
is
can't
poison.
pronounce a name in a food, you probably shouldn't eat
Look
it.
up, just like let's get educated here. Look up the mental health problem you have in this country. It has never been this bad.
No.
Why do you think that is happening? It is because of the food and the lifestyle, like the lifestyle fucking like the people are living.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible, and it's not good. And like I want to come out here and educate people is that's not going to work for you. You're going to be depressed. You cannot eat what you want. You cannot fucking sleep all day long. You cannot not go and get exercise. You can't not go and like try to fucking chase a dream. If you don't do any of those things, you're going to get depressed, and you're going to be a part of that.
And take a look at yourself in the mirror and like take accountability for that and go and make the changes. There's so much information out there where you can. There's so many resources and outlets free too that you could take advantage of.
So I'm a very big gym advocate. So is Chris here. When I get up in the morning, right, and I go to the gym, and it sucks, right? Nobody likes to go to the gym. I don't want to get on the treadmill at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have a quote I say in my head. Every morning when I walk out that door and I'm like, yo, just go back to sleep. And it's pick your hard, people.
Yes.
It's hard to look good. It's hard to be fat.
Harder.
Pick your hard. Do you want to live a life of depression and be overweight and not like the way you look? Or do you want to live a hard life and get into the gym 3 days a week? I'm not saying go crazy. Don't get there.
But move.
Go for a walk.
How did it change your life when you started getting into shape? Because me and you back in the day did not look like how we look now.
No way.
How much better do you feel confidently that you could walk out of the house like this? Because like I can speak to the people that are overweight. I was damn near 300 pounds. Miserable, depressed, overweight. Did not make the right lifestyle changes. I was lazy. I slept all day. I was upset. I self-pitied. I did all of the above. And I can speak to those people. It does not work. You don't have long on this planet. You need to make those changes. And up until I made those changes, and I'm pretty sure like I can relate to you, when you made those changes, you felt like a different human being. And it's like, you know, everybody out there, it's like, no, it's okay to be fat. No, it's not. It's not okay to make the you know, and then blaming everybody else for your fucking problems and this and that.
Said, if you're live a happy life and you know, eat your fast food once in a while.
That's fine.
And, you know, all the power to you. Just understand that. Yeah, exactly. I think it's unfortunate that who we are as people in this civilization that we live in, it takes something bad to happen in order for us to make change. We don't make change unless something bad happens. And I'm literally, I can admit it, I'm the first person. The only reason why I started eating right, taking care of myself, and going to the gym is because I had this crazy thing that happened to me and I was like paralyzed, and every day I prayed to God. I said, please, if you get me back on my feet, I promise you I will not take my physical for granted anymore. But I was living a life of depression and being fat and not being happy, but I didn't do anything to change it. I woke up every morning, I would say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, and then by nighttime I'm sitting there having Burger King on the couch smoking weed every single night. It took something bad to happen to me to say, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Like, I'm tired of like waking up and looking in the mirror and not liking what I see. I said, now, you know what? It's time for change. And it doesn't come in a day, people. People think they're going to go to the gym. Some people go to the gym, look in the mirror, and like, why is it nothing happening?
Where they have that?
It didn't take that long to get to where you are now. It's not going to take a day to get to where you are.
Years. There's guys who've been in the gym lifting for 8, 10, 12 years consistently.
But why is the country pushing this message that it's okay? And it's like, I think in my head, and like, I try not to get political on this podcast.
I'll tell you why.
No, I'll tell you why. It's because we live in a capitalist society, and it's that fast food places and horrible eating
because then you get
is $1 billion industry, and then they don't worry about
and then
the
the
people that are
pharmaceutical
going
company.
through this.
Here, take this.
Oh, wait, you're fat? Let's give this guy 100 different medications.
Yeah, and let's fuck up your mind and your heart and everything else. And then when you come back in 10 years, because you need this, this, we'll get more money from you.
Sick people make rich doctors, okay? Doctors are rich for a reason. They don't want you to be healthy. They don't want holistic things in your blood. They want to push medicine, and that's their agenda.
And
the agenda.
People out there need to wake the fuck up and start reading in between the lines.
It's happening. I do feel like a lot of people are.
Because people are speaking.
But there's still going to be the people out there that aren't. But that's just
it's fine. That's the beauty of us as people, is that everybody's going to be different. And like I said, it's that I know that people that are going through this don't feel good about themselves. I don't care how much the country wants to push this issue. I know you don't feel good. I know you don't. And it's like, because I've been there. And it's like, there's no way you could feel good. And like I said, if you do feel good, then I stand corrected. And I'm sure there's people out there that do. But it's very unlikely, and it's like you have to get the fuck up and make a change. And it's like
never too late. It's never too late. You could always pick it up and do it, no matter.
And I'm not shitting on these people. We're not shitting on these people whatsoever.
No.
It's like, I feel for you because I've been there, and it's like you have to get up and you have to make adjustments.
You have to be your own advocate. No one
and sift through the bullshit. The messages that are being sent out by people like that run everything. It's like, do you genuinely believe what they're saying? And the internet exists. Go online and like read up on all this bullshit. They're straight lying to you. This is not a good thing. Yeah. And I just advocate, go get yourself a sandwich from a fast food place, and then look at the ingredients on the back, because that's a legal standard in this country for that to be there. And look what they are putting in there, and then go online and then cross-reference what those ingredients do.
God, you hear about the Bonza chickpea protein?
Yeah. Yes.
Why is there weed killer in it? Like massive amounts of weed killer in that Bonza.
Look at the vegetables we're eating. It's sprayed with pesticides, and
that's why we gotta get a farm.
I tell my fiance all the time. I said, my goal. I don't care about a dream house, a dream car. I care about a dream life. I want to be able to go where we please. If we want to go to the Caribbean or we want to go to, we can. I want fresh fruits and vegetables in my backyard and herbs. There's no way I can confidently go into even organic foods.
I know.
Aren't organic. They are not organic. No. I could go into Whole Foods and get an organic cucumber and it's still sprayed with shit.
Yeah. That's it's going to cost you
$10 more.
$25.
Exactly. And you're still not getting it organic.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Amish people who are sitting out there.
We love the Amish.
If there is any Amish viewers, please reach out. I would love to have you on
I'm going to just become Amish.
And please bring us stuff.
And please bring us organic eggs, butter, meat, whatever you could bring. There's actually a lot of farms, though, and companies that do that. I have a friend of mine, shout out Steven, because he is extremely intelligent when it comes up to eating right and what you're putting in your body. He orders from a farm in Pennsylvania. The guy drives his own box truck down here. He gives him organic chopped meat. He gives him organic beef, organic chicken, organic vegetables, everything. I mean, listen, it's pricey, don't get me wrong, but everything he puts in his body is absolutely out of the ground. No preservatives, no additives, no Red 40 that causes cancer, by the way, people that people just drink,
Which is in everything, though.
And it's more expensive. You were saying it costs more, but it ends up saving.
But yes.
Because then you don't have to...
Yes. We used to order from... So, my fiance's dad used to work in the meat industry growing up, to white table restaurants, right? So he saw the good, the bad, and the in-between.
And the ugly.
And what he used to do is he knew a guy, same thing, I don't know if it was either upstate or Pennsylvania, and he had a group of guys, and they would buy a whole cow. They would get it chopped. The butcher would patties, ground sausages, links, whatever need may be. And they would split it between them. And I remember going over for one of the first times, and his dad cooked a steak, and I was like, whoa.
This is,
I was like, why does this taste different? I was like, what seasoning did you put on? He was like, we don't put seasoning on our steak. He goes, it's salt and pepper and butter.
That's it.
And I was like, well, where'd you get it from? And he goes, it literally was killed like 2 days ago. It was grass fed. The grass had no fertilizer, had no spray, had nothing. And yes, it may be expensive, but how much is your life worth?
Yeah, well, it's going to be expensive when you have to go to the doctors later on in life.
Instead of buying that new T-shirt for $500, $300.
Or the PS5.
Or some Balenciaga shoes, Prada and Gucci. Spend a little money and take care of yourself.
It's an investment. You're investing in your body and your future.
Right. This is the only thing that's keeping you going.
How crazy is that? We don't invest in the only thing.
You put good oil in your car when you get an oil change. You get an oil filter.
We're so silly. We really are. We're
changing it.
We are so silly sometimes. We're worried about the wrong things.
Yes.
We want to invest in everything else but the one thing that is going to bring us a happy and healthy life.
Maybe it's just, we need more education, and maybe we could be the fucking ones at this table that do it. There's going to be backlash. And I'm sure, after this episode, I'm sure we're going to get backlash. But, I'll pin to the camera. This is a table where everybody could be just as real as they possibly can be. I could honestly say, I'm sitting amongst people that are genuinely, authentically themselves. And, every week I want the show to go in different directions. And, I'm happy the people that I have around me right now. I got the greatest co-hosts, I got the greatest producers, and everybody's welcome on the show to come on here and speak their opinion. And I'll pin back to the mental health aspect of everything. If you're going through something as a human being, feel free to reach out to the Instagram and the TikTok. We will be there for you. And stay tuned for Thursday. We got Luke coming on here where it's going to be a similar conversation. And, thank you guys for everything you guys do. Welcoming Angela to the show as a full-time co-host, man. I appreciate this.
Of course.
And you guys have been doing a hell of a job of producing this podcast and everything that you guys do. I'm genuinely grateful.
Thank you, ladies. For real.
Thank you.
Very grateful for you guys at this table. And tune in on Thursday, and that's Intentionally Unintelligent. This is a wrap.
Ooh.
Peace.